Brought to you by...
When you grow up with a deep love and obsession with the horror genre like I did, you feed your need for a fix however you are able, and chew up anything that offers the eerie feel that classic fright films provide. It was during these early years with the genre that I first discovered R.L. Stine and his popular children's spook tales that, wouldn't you know it, were turned into a popular television series. Hello friends and welcome to Embrace the Film here at Virtual Puppet Con Northeast Edition. I'm your host, Oliver Buckley. For those of you who aren't regular viewers, ETF is a film review, discussion, and analysis channel on YouTube. We mainly focus on the genres we love most, being horror and thriller films, both short and feature length, taking in-depth looks at each film and discussing our interpretations of them. Today, since this is a special event and it's taking place during our Halloween series, I wanted to do something a little different than we would normally do on the channel. Something special just for all of you who are tuning into Virtual Puppet Con and showing some support for us fleece folk. For this video, I thought it would be fun to look back at a film that definitely had an impact on me as a young stuffy. A film that I watched countless times growing up, and while watching it today, I realized holds themes that still remain relevant, perhaps now more than ever. I want to look at Goosebumps, The Haunted Mask. I was first introduced to R.L. Stine and subsequently the Goosebumps series during the book fairs that my elementary schools would host every year. Maybe it was my already emerging interest in scary movies at the time, but something about their vibrant yet creepy cover art grabbed my attention straight away. From there, it led to a regular interest in checking out the next entry in the series, usually at the library whenever I had the opportunity. Featured in the documentary Tales from the Crypt, From Comics to Television, writer R.L. Stine stated that reading the comics as a kid was one of his biggest inspirations. In July of 1992, he broke ground on what would be a worldwide popular series of stories with Welcome to Dead House. And by 1996, the book series accounted for more than 15% of Scholastic's annual revenue. I myself at one point owned most of the classic collection of books. Now, before we go too far, I know some of you are already thinking, wait, Goosebumps was a book and TV series. Haunted Mask was an episode. What does this have to do with movie reviews? Well, back in the 90s era of VHS, some of the bigger two-part episodes of the series were released individually on home video as these sort of standalone movies. So for many years there, when I was younger, I thought that this was a Goosebumps made-for-TV movie. I didn't understand how these things went back then, and I always looked at it through the cinematic lens. The version that I have features a delightful little introduction from the author himself, who clues us in that this is one of his favorite stories that he's ever worked on. As the film begins, we are introduced to Carly Beth, who falls for every prank played on her. So on Halloween, she sets out to buy the scariest mask possible, venturing into a creepy new costume shop and discovering an off-limits section that houses some horrifically twisted masks on display. However, little does she know that the masks may be more than just another cheap Halloween costume. One of the things that I think I love most about this film is its atmosphere. It captures that mischievous visual vibe of Halloween that few other films have. Like many other episodes of the series, it doesn't take long to thrust us into the thick of things. However, the horrors don't begin until we have a thorough understanding of our characters. Carly Beth begins this story as the type of girl who is easily startled and terrified by the simplest frights, making her the prime target of bullying, harassment, and practical jokes. Catherine Long's performance in this role is one of the standouts to me among the other stories brought to life from the Goosebumps franchise. She brings us a different level of emotional depth to the character, by exploring the turmoil of someone who lives their life ridiculed for something about herself that she cannot control. For such young kids, the bullies in this film are awfully cruel to her. Not only do they constantly scare her, but they go as far as to humiliate her in front of her peers by putting a worm in her sandwich. In my opinion, they deserve everything coming to them. The film itself features a lot of open-ended questions. When Carly Beth goes to buy the mask, we are presented with not one, but a series of masks, all with twisted and horrific faces, each more grotesque than the last, some resembling something out of Hellraiser. It makes me wonder how things would have been different if she had chosen one of the others. We are also given hints of further grotesqueries and dark themes, as it is more than suggested that the mask maker's own face is but another mask that will soon join the others on pedestals. One of the most unique ideas for me to be incorporated into this film was the inclusion of the sculpture that Carly Beth's mother made for her. After donning the mask, Carly chooses to carry the sculpture around on a stick, like a trophy or remnant of who she once was before. When Carly Beth meets up with her friend and goes trick-or-treating, she even quickly, possibly absent-mindedly, describes the sculpture as who she used to be. This is where we begin to become introduced to the influence of the mask upon her. We watch as her kind and meek personality is pushed away, and a mischievous little monster begins to surface. Later into the film, a more physical transformation starts to take shape, revealed in full during a scene when Carly Beth can't remove the mask. Through subtle detail, the practical effects are more elevated as the mask seems more perfectly formed to her face. The spaces around her eyes have vanished and been replaced by eyes that are not her own. The seam of the mask has vanished into her skin. The mouth moves more fluidly whenever she speaks, and a sheen of sweat can be seen on the skin as she exerts more energy. For a film geared towards children, it explores themes that others often don't dare to. But I feel that exploring horror often warrants deeper themes. Throughout the film, we watch as a young girl struggles with her own fears and the idea of abandoning who she is to become something that she otherwise would never have been. The very thing that causes fear to others. Over the course of the story, Carly Beth is losing herself to the essence of this mask, as it slowly takes control and begins to replace her, both mentally and physically, which makes this sort of an adolescent body horror. After exacting her revenge on the bullies, Chuck and Steve, Carly Beth buries the sculpture of herself, symbolizing an effort to hide away the person she once was and abandon it to become something new. It isn't until the threat of losing herself completely is all too real that she then returns to the grave to unearth her true face and realizes that accepting herself for who she has always been is the key to freeing herself from the mask's control, ultimately learning to love herself the way all of those around her do. It's funny, but as a kid, most of these themes pass by us without a second thought. But I have no doubt that R.L. Stine worked these themes in purposely, with the hope that they would have some lasting effect on his readers. I wonder how much of his message has had a subconscious effect on how I view myself, even though I am so different than many of those around me. Part of me can't help but wonder if the haunted mask has been influencing the person that I turned out to be all these years. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to the folks behind Virtual Puppet Con for allowing me to share this exploration of one of my favorite childhood horrors with you. If you like this video and you would like to see more from ETF, please consider checking us out at youtube.com/embracethefilm or embracethefilm.com. If you decide to check us out and you like what you see, feel free to click that subscribe button to stay up to date on all our future content. I hope to see you all there. I know not all of you will, but for those of you who do, I will catch you all next time. I hope you all stay safe, keep embracing film, and have a happy Halloween.